All living things have cells. These tiny building blocks work together to create simple things like bacteria, as well as more complex organisms like you and me, and animals and plants. Cell types are categorized based on that complexity, and they include prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So, the simplest organisms that have only one cell, like bacteria, are prokaryotic, and these cells do not have a nucleus or internal compartments. Plant and animal cells are more complex and are classified as eukaryotic because they have their cells have identifiable internal components in addition to a genuine nucleus. Now, most of these are multicellular. So, in complex organisms such as plants, animals, and people, cells are made up of several organelles. Now, you may remember from when we were talking about plant cells, we talked about what organelles are. They're parts of the cell that perform various functions and allow for the cell's independent operation. You can kind of think of them as buildings in a city, parts of a city. Every city needs different things to operate. Well, every plant cell, every animal cell needs different components to operate. The cells also have different shapes to assist with their function, such as blood cells compared to fat cells. However, they all do share similar parts that allow the cell to do general tasks, such as create energy or protect itself. In your take-home packets, you should have a visual representation of an animal cell. And on one of those, it'll be labels having the names of all the parts, all the organelles. The other will be blank. Make sure that you fill in that blank part that you have. You can even color it if you would like to, and keep it for your reference. But if you want to pull out the one that's labeled right now, it'll help you as we go through these parts, okay? So the animal cell has a cell membrane, and this is a thin permeable outer layer of a cell that selects which substances exit and enter the cell. You can think of a cell membrane as almost like the city limits of where you live, okay? Cytoplasm, a jelly-like material inside the cell membrane. Cytoplasm is the material that holds the organelles in place. So it holds everything where it's supposed to be. The nucleus is the round structure that is covered in a membrane, and it's located right in the center of the animal cell. It contains DNA and controls many cell functions. It's often called the brain of the cell. If you're thinking of a city, you can think that the nucleus is more like the city hall, okay? That's going to be where the decisions are made, where things like that. It's the brain of the cell. It's the biggest part of the cell there. And my baby is giving me a hard time here. Hold on one second here. Okay, moving right along. The nucleolus is found inside the nucleus, and it makes RNA. Now, the nuclear membrane, she's getting upset. The nuclear membrane encircles the nucleus, and it helps keep contents inside the nucleus safe. There, she just wants to see. She just wants to see everybody. Can you wave? Can you wave? She can see herself right now, so that's why she's really interested. She loves looking at herself. We were talking about the nuclear membrane. So that encircles the nucleus, and it helps keep contents inside the nucleus safe. Now, the vacuole is present in some animal cells. It's used for food and waste storage, food digestion, and cell input input and outtake. The mitochondria, now these produce energy for the cell, and mitochondria are often referred to as the powerhouse of the cell. So if you're thinking about a city, that would be your power supply. That'd be your power plant of the city. Over where I am in Harrison, Tennessee, it's EPB. They supply power to our homes. Right now, we don't have power, so our mitochondria is not producing right now. As a matter of fact, we have linemen out there on our power lines working on it right now. So the next one is going to be our lysosomes. A lysosome is a sac containing enzymes used for digestion. You can think of a lysosome as a garbage facility, okay, of a city. Garbage facility in your city takes care of that garbage that we all send out. It takes it to the place where they do whatever they do with the garbage. It takes care of it. Centrosome, it makes microtubules and aids in cell replication and division. So you think of like mitosis and meiosis. The centrosome will aid in those processes. The endoplasmic reticulum, remember studying that from our study of plants. That transports materials through the animal cells. So, if we're thinking about a city again, we think about a post office, right? So you ever go and deliver a letter to the post office, it delivers mail throughout the city, and it transports needed materials throughout the cell. All right, we just got a couple more. Ribosomes are the structures that make protein within the cells. You can think of ribosomes making protein as a pharmacy, right? So ribosomes create protein for the cells to keep it healthy. Pharmacies make medicines for people in a city to keep them fit. Just as cells have numerous ribosomes, as you'll see, ribosomes are all over the cell. Cities also have multiple pharmacies in many cases. Kind of cool. Golgi body. Now we studied Golgi bodies from our plant study. They package, transport nutrients out of the cells. So the Golgi apparatus, the Golgi bodies will package and transport the nutrients out of the cells. Last thing we want to talk about is the cilia. Now this is only for animal cells. The cilia and flagella. Okay, cilia are hair-like projections present on the outer layer of some animal cells, and they are used to help cells move around or push substances past cells. There she is. Yeah, that's the last one we were going to talk about. There she is. I'm sorry, you guys. She is cute though. I don't know why she does that. So, last thing we're going to do is talk about the differences between plants and animal cells. Plant cells and animal cells. Okay? You want to talk about that, Jane? So, whenever you think about plants and animal cells differences, you want to think about the cell wall, vacuoles, and chloroplasts. Cell wall, vacuoles, chloroplasts. Plant cells have a rigid cell wall surrounds the plant membrane, and the wall gives cells the rectangular structure, and helps plants stand upright without the need for something like an exoskeleton or bones. Okay? Chloroplasts in plant cells generate energy through photosynthesis. So this is stuff that plant cells have that animals don't. The process of photosynthesis needs the chloroplasts. So it takes sunlight and water, converts it into energy for the cell, and that's how the cell feeds itself. That's how the plant feeds itself. Lastly, we're going to talk about the difference between animal and plant cells as in a vacuole. Plant cells have a single large vacuole. That was the biggest shape that we saw when we were going over plant cells. The function of the vacuole is to store water and sap. The vacuole increases and decreases in size depending on the amount stored in them. When plants lack water, the vacuole shrinks, making the cell cave in on itself and causing the plant to droop. Animal cells can have vacuoles, but they are smaller and more numerous and have a different function. Okay. Last difference we're going to talk about between plant and animal cells are the cilia and flagella. We kind of covered this a second ago. Animal cells, as well as microorganisms, also have exterior protrusions that help them move. Okay, the cilia look like tiny hairs on the outside of animal cells, and there are many of them. Flagella is a long single projection that acts like a whip to propel the cell forward. Cells have either cilia or flagella. Plant cells do not have cilia or flagella. So that's an easy way to tell if the structure you're looking at is a plant cell or an animal cell. Does it have little hairs on the outside of it? Does it have a single whip, kind of like a tail on the back of it? If it does, then you can be sure that that's going to be an animal cell there. So anyways, cell wall, vacuole, and chloroplasts. That's the main difference between plants and animal cells. And what you'll do is, now that you kind of know that, I want you to put together, you'll notice you have a Venn diagram. You have a Venn diagram in your take-home packet. One of the circles is for plant cells. The other circle is for animal cells, right? So you'll have one circle. Actually, let me show you. Hold on. I'm going to put the baby down real quick. See if she'll be all right for us. Sorry, this is... Okay, so this is what you'll see. So one of these circles is going to be plant cells. You see it? One of them is going to be animal cells. What you'll do is right here, you'll put everything that plant and animal cells share in common. Okay? You're going to write it down in your sheet. Like I said, this should be in your take-home packet. This section here is going to be everything that a plant cell and an animal cell has in common. You're going to write whatever it is down here, right? So you might put a nucleus down here for one. You know, that's what they have in common, is a nucleus. But there are lots of other things they have in common. On this plant cell part, that's not in the middle, you're going to put everything that the plant cell has that the animal cell does not, okay? And then on the, just likewise on the animal cell part here, you're going to put here everything that the animal cell has that the plant cell does not, okay? For this, you can use, the information I've given you on here. You can do a quick search online about that, and it'll tell you differences between animals and plant cells. You can look back at your plant cell worksheets that I have, or look for new, plant cell diagrams that show labels and things like that. You can also use the animal cell picture and labels that I sent you here. But anyways, put whatever you can in here. Like I said, plant cell only, animal cells and plant cells, what they share in common, animal cell only. And this is called a Venn diagram, V-E-N-N. You will use this a lot in school. And so as you grow older, you'll see a bunch of these Venn diagrams. It's something that helps you to find out what differences and what similarities two things have in common. So that is that for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Like I said, feel free to use the internet for that. If for some reason you are not able to find anything on the internet about it, or you need help finding some stuff, I can send you some helpful things for that. So just let me know, okay? Send me a message on Microsoft and let me know if you need any help with that. But that explains that one right there, okay? All right, well, that is group time for today, and we went over some basics of cells, but we also went over the differences between plant and animal cells and talked about some of the organelles in an animal cell. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.